Hi friends, it's Hannah from Handmade by Design, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today we're going to be doing a complete transformation on a pocketbook using denim. My niece was here when I made the denim gift bag, and she requested that I make her a small handbag with the leftover denim. And after several attempts, this was the way that I did it. I used an old small fanny pack handbag combination, and I know that there is a designer label inside of this little purse, but I doubt very seriously that it is a Louis Vuitton. I've had this purse forever, and it doesn't even feel like leather. It feels plasticky, and it's the material sticking together inside, so I doubt very seriously that it's a Louis Vuitton. If you decide to do this, it's kind of like making a puzzle, and it really is a lot of fun to make a handbag this way. And what I did is on the front of the handbag, I decided that I wanted the big pocket and the coin pocket to be on the front of the little handbag. The shape and size of the purse that you use is going to determine how you apply the denim to your purse. I laid the handbag directly on top of the pockets that I wanted to use on the front of the purse. And I simply cut around the pockets, leaving a 1-inch seam all the way around on the pockets. This handbag is so small that I wanted the pockets on the front of it so that keys could be placed in the smaller pocket, the coin purse pocket, and a cell phone could be slipped into the larger pocket on the front of the phone for easy access when you're carrying the handbag. The first seam on the outside of this bag is over the top near where the handles are for the fanny pack. And because I wanted every seam to look finished, I used part of the waistband to go into that spot because I want everything to look like it has a finished edge. So I added a little bit of fabric fusion to the edge, and I using a small pair of scissors, I gently nudged the fabric inside of the seam of the existing purse, and it slipped in there just perfectly. I added 2 clips that I purchased from the Dollar Tree to hold it into place until the glue was dry. I add a layer of Eileen's Fabric Fusion to the front flap of the handbag, and I spread it around. You can use a paintbrush, but I just used my fingers and I spread it around evenly over the top of the handbag, on the sides of the handbag, and just a little bit underneath the front of the handbag, and I let it sit for a few minutes until it got tacky. Next, I folded all of the fabric over the front flap, and I also closed the purse to make sure that I had plenty of fabric to cover the entire front of the purse. I used a heat gun on low setting to help speed up the drying process. The first set of clips is only clipped to the inner pocket portion. Once the layer of under fabric is dry, I add more glue and I fold all of the fabric under. I add clips around the entire portion of the fabric, the underlayment, and the top fabric, and I leave the clips on until the glue is completely dry. I'm beginning to see there's lots of applications for denim. Once the clips are dry, I remove them, and the front flap of the handbag came out so adorable. It has a pocket for a cell phone, and it also has a small pocket to put in a set of keys or a tube of lipstick. I went in with a pair of scissors and I trimmed down as much of the overlap on the inside of the front flap as possible. We need to have the front flap be as flat as possible because the closure on this purse is a magnetic closure and it will only hold together if the purse is flat. And the two pieces of the magnetic closure can easily touch. Using the top flap as a template, I get a piece of denim and just use a pencil to draw out the shape of the top of the flap. I cut the denim out and I cut it 1/4 inch smaller than the inside of the front of the purse flap so that the denim would adhere, and I folded the denim underneath the front flap and I removed the clips and reapplied them once again over the denim so that everything could dry in one piece over the front flap of the pocketbook. As I was cutting the material, I cut right through a piece of material directly under the big seam, under the big pocket. So later I'm going to have to add something, some kind of embellishment to cover the hole in the denim. I elected to add a bee, but I also made a denim flower. And at the end, I would love for you to tell me which embellishment looks better on the handbag. I'm so happy with the way the front of this handbag turned out. The little coin purse can hold keys. The larger pocket can hold a cell phone. And the inside of the front flap looks really unsightly, but we're going to trim that down and cover it up with another piece of fabric. And it's important that we do this because, number one, the closure on this handbag is it is a magnetic closure, so everything has to lay almost completely flat on the inside of the handbag. So I just go around and I trim as much as I possibly can from the fabric that I glued on the inside flap of the front portion of the purse. I cut out a piece of denim to fit the inside flap of the handbag. And when I cut it, I keep in mind that part of the flap needs to go inside of the handbag, and I'm going to tuck it into a little pocket on the inside so that it's not visible. So just remember to really study your handbag before you make any cuts. I'm adding more glue underneath the seam along the inside of the flap of the handbag, and I'm going to add clips and make sure that it dries as flat as possible before adding any fabric. And then I cut a piece of fabric that will fit onto the inside of the front flap, and then where the mechanism is to close the purse, I simply cut an X so that I know where it is, and I'll be able to cut a little hole to accommodate it perfectly later on. I also cut out the Louis Vuitton insignia just for fun so that I can adhere it to the front flap of the purse for my niece, even though she's going to know that it's not a real Louis Vuitton. She's going to absolutely love the status of having that little insignia on the inside of the flap of the purse. I cover the entire front flap of the purse with glue, and I adhere the piece that goes on the inside of the purse. And after I glue it on, I go around and trim off any edges that are showing on the outside of the purse. And as you can see, I have a little bit of some material that is too long or for the purse, and that is the material that I'm going to cut along the sides just a little bit so that it will fit inside of the purse, and I'm going to tuck that fabric inside of the purse, inside of the pocket, so that it fits seamlessly and you can't see where the denim ends. This purse came with a really pretty strap, and there are 2 hooks inside of the purse for the straps. So before I tuck the fabric inside of the pocket, I do the same thing as I did around the closing mechanism. I cut 2 little X's so that I'll be able to cut around the hooks where I can attach the strap. I pull the hooks through, and then I push the rest of the material inside of the purse, inside of an interior pocket, and glue that down. Then I also close the purse to make sure that the mechanism is still working since it's magnetic, and I have a lot of fabric going on inside of the flap of the purse. I clip all the material together to dry, and when it's drying, I cut another piece of material to fit on the inside flap of the handbag. As you're putting the purse together, you have to think about how it's going to look every step of the way. So the top portion of the inside of the handbag, I use a thick piece of denim that has already been sewn for that inside top flap of the handbag, because that is what you're going to see when you open the handbag, and this gives it a nice clean finish. Cut the edge, leaving about 1/2 of an inch so that you can glue the entire piece of the front portion, the inside front portion underneath the purse. I cut a few little slits around the corners so that it will tuck in more easily, and then I add glue and fold everything under and add the clips and wait for it to dry. While all the glue is drying, we're going to cut the material for the backside of the purse. And all of the unsightly glue that you see that looks all grungy and awful, you don't have to worry about that because this glue dries crystal clear. I was a little bit worried about it, but once the purse is completely dry, and it just looks clean and finished, and it looks like a store-bought purse. It looks so pretty. There's no marks or smudges left from the glue. I'm cutting 2 pieces of material for the back of the purse. One piece of the material I'm going to fold and tuck it into the straps of the fanny pack, because that beautiful brown leather or plastic, whatever it is, matches the brown in the handle of the purse, and it's a beautiful long handle, and I love it that they match, and I don't want to take away that cohesive look from the handbag. So I take the material, and once again, being mindful that I want it to look attractive, I put on the top edge a heavy piece of denim that has already been pre-sewn from the jeans. I'm going to work with that material and make sure that it's folded just right underneath the 2 straps, and I'm going to glue it to the back of the purse, lay everything out flat and taut, and use clips on either side so that the glue can dry completely. I add a second piece of fabric beneath the straps. I fold it under so that the edge is clean, and then I glue the rest of the fabric onto the purse, and I leave about a 1/2 inch seam allowance all around the edge of the purse, and I cut little slits going around the corners so that we get a better fit, and then I add clips onto all of the glued edges in order for the glue to dry completely. Once the glue has dried completely, I cut off the waistband from the jeans. And the reason that I'm using the waistband is because in this small, unfinished space in between the top flap and the bottom flap, we need something that is finished on both edges, and the waistband fit the bill perfectly. So I cut off the waistband and I tucked it into the space from one end of the purse until to the other end of the purse, and I added plenty of glue and held both sides together with the clips until everything was completely dry. I added the flower pin to the purse, plus a couple of other things, looking for some sort of embellishment that I could use to cover the rip in the front, on the front side of the purse, but the flower definitely was not the answer. So I'll be removing that in just 1 second. After all the glue has dried and the clips have been removed, I carefully look at the purse to make sure that it doesn't need any adjustments. And it needs maybe a little bit of a trim here, a little bit of glue with a clip in another space, and I just carefully work around the purse methodically, making sure that everything is completed on the purse. And another thing that I do is I cut the zipper off of the jeans, and I use each side of the zipper as an embellishment for the purse, and it looks so cute. I add one half of the zipper on the top of the purse near where the straps are for the fanny pack. And the second zipper I placed where there was a small gap where the original material showed through, and placing the zipper there covered it up completely. I added a small piece of edging all along the inside of the front flap of the purse to give it a finished edge. And I also made a flower out of denim, and I added a button to it, and it's really cute. The only thing that I can't decide now is whether I should add the flower to the front of the purse where the hole is, or the bee. Which one do you think looks better? I added the strap back onto the purse, and I also glued 2 belt loops to the front of the coin purse. I just love the way that this little purse came out. I think it is so adorable. I would carry it myself. I so enjoyed making this project for you, and I hope that it inspires you to make something beautiful. If you enjoyed this project, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That way you'll be notified the next time that I make a video. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time.